Okay, so I'm Imogen, I'm here with Counterfeit. Can I have you guys introduce yourselves with your name and what you do in the band?
Hello, my name is Jamie and I play guitar and I sing in Counterfeit.
Hey, I'm Tristan and I play guitar and occasionally sing, I guess. Yeah.
My name is Sam, I play guitar.
I'm Jimmy, I play drums.
My name's Roland, I play bass and sing.
Okay, first of all, how are you feeling about tonight's show?
Pretty good. We're stoked. Yeah, we're stoked to be here. We've just come back off the sort of mainland Europe part of the run. Just finished in Cologne like 4 days ago. Had a nice little rest and the first show of the UK run. What's not to love?
So, your new album, tell me about it.
Tell you about it. What do you want to know? What can we possibly tell you? What is it? What do you wish us to start with?
Where did you get the inspiration for the name?
Together We're Stronger. Together We're Stronger. When we started this band, however many months or years ago, it kind of was like our sort of mantra. It was something that we all truly believed in. I think, you know, at the heart of this band is the idea of unity, the idea of oneness, the idea of togetherness, both in a personal, emotional sense and also in a sort of broader, more worldly sense, I think. So when it came time to title the record, it was sort of a no-brainer, although I wanted to call the album other things as well.
We'll keep those for
album two, yeah. No, but it was a no-brainer, you know. It's our message. It's what we believe in. It's just who we are. It's our statement.
And what's your favourite track off the album?
It changes for me. It changes. I can't settle on something at the moment.
You can't rely.
You can't rely on love for ages, and I still love it.
That's
it's my favourite changes that are kind of mad tonight.
I kind of like Addiction.
At the moment, yeah.
Addiction's fun to play, yeah.
It's a bit of the stonky pang.
Yeah.
Addiction is a great track. Like, it's wicked to play live. It's a great song to play.
Out of all the places you've performed / visited, which is your favourite?
Performed and visited or visited. Oh, it's difficult to say. Each place that we play is such has its merits. I mean, I think for us, you know, as a new sort of a relatively new rock band, Germany is an amazing country to play in. Like, it's very in terms of its openness toward music and toward rock and roll and its general attitude towards new music. It's an incredible place to play. There's vibe particularly across where we've been able to play in Germany, but then there's something very special about being able to tour the UK as well. You know, this is where we're from, so it's tough, you know. It's tough, but Germany is great. It's like, it's instant madness in Germany. But as it is over here as well. I mean, we did a show the other day in Kingston at a venue called the Fighting Cocks, and it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was the day before or after the album was released. I can't remember.
On a Saturday as
It was
well.
on a Saturday matinee show,
Yeah.
and it just fucking went off. It was unbelievable. It was one of my favourite shows I think we've ever played, if I'm being honest. So it changes. Each has its own different vibe. It's like being relationships with multiple people.
What's your favourite thing about touring?
Going to hang out with your mates. It is like just hanging out and travelling to new places and playing shows, you know, to people that we've been very fortunate enough that are into it, you know, who's also it seems, so yeah, it's a great time. It's good to be out with your friends doing something now.
Getting Jimmy ready.
Yeah.
I like 2 showers a day.
Double shower.
Jimmy does like a double shower. What Jimmy tends to do is have a shower right before we're meant to be on stage. Like, right up until the last minute, Jimmy will probably be in the towel. And I'm there like, I suffer from quite, you know, like I stress a lot. I suffer from quite bad stress. So I'm there like, Jimmy, you know, we're meant to be going on stage. And he's like, it's all calm, it's calm, it's calm. And then it's towel.
Okay, so my younger sister, who's obsessed with Mortal Instruments, begged me to ask you this, but is there a sequel to the Mortal Instruments?
There's a television show that she can watch and download. Legally or illegally, it's up to her.
Yeah, I've seen that. Okay, so I'm going to ask each person individually, but what's the best / worst thing about any member of the band? Starting with Jamie.
Do I have to say about each individual? So best or worst? I mean, obviously I'm just going to go for the best thing. Roland's positivity, it's one of the greatest things. about who he is as a human being, let alone, you know, being in a band with him. It's amazing. It just keeps us all up. Jimmy's got this smile when he knows he's being naughty. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I'm just like, it's kind of just like melts my stone cold ice heart. He just looks at me, I'm like, oh, okay, off you go be fun. Sam understands me better than probably, I mean, like, we all get each other, but Sam just is like so zen and just gets it and is calm. And Tristan is logical and will always think about a problem laterally. So as a team, we're fairly good. I'm just scatty as fuck, so I don't know. I'm sort of the weakest link, I think, in terms of what I can offer.
I'll give you one word for each of them. So we've got drive, comedy, energy, and wise words.
Sage.
2 words.
Sage.
Sage, holidays.
Sage.
Sage. Good herb.
Strong.
Yeah, Roland, for his positivity and his, you know, gets me up in the morning, gets me pumped for the day. I'm pretty sure you've made me some dodgy beverages in the past, though. Hot beverages.
Oh, really?
I think you did something a little bit wrong. I didn't bring it up at the
Oh,
time
right.
to save you from it, but
Save you from embarrassment.
now I'm doing it publicly, so instead of taking you aside like a gentleman.
No copies.
Jimmy, great for the hangs. Great to hang with. Bad thing is, too good for the hangs, I'd say. Tristan, great thing is that normally you know where everything is. A lot of the time I can come to you and ask where something is and you'll be able to help me.
Well, that's a good trait.
I think, maybe. I don't do that often, I don't think, but when I do,
We'll test it out later.
we'll test it out. Worst thing. That we're so far apart on stage. Tristan and
That
I,
is pretty bad.
Tristan and
We're
I
like
are
the furthest members.
We're the furthest apart members.
But we share the
Logistically.
same instrument.
Logistically. Yeah.
Sad times.
James Bauer, best thing about being on tour with James Bauer.
There's nothing
Nothing there.
Nothing's
It's empty.
Nothing's springing up.
24 years of emptiness.
No, it's great to play next to you. That's the thing. Like it's great to have those two guitars making noise. That's a great thing. But that's kind of similar to T's one. But worst thing is your habits of like fucking rocketing sideways on stage in between like verses or like chorus breaks, or just kind of like lean all the way back over to stage right, and it gets a little bit tough. Yeah, it's very long-winded one for me. But there you go.
Oh, is it my turn?
It's your turn now.
Okay. Yeah, again, the theme, Roland, it's always just great to be around. Top man.
Cheers,
Yeah.
Cheers, boss.
Yeah. Hangs with Sam, yeah. I love a good debate with Tristan. Yeah, like, we like a good chat about shit, like, you know.
Sort of shit out.
And Joe's just like a zest of orange lemon to be around, you know, like we see sprays of just
Fruitiness.
fruitiness,
Mists.
fruit greatness.
Mist,
we go.
lemon haze.
Haze, yeah.
I'll do worst. I'll do worst qualities that I can find right. Jimmy's worst quality is he keeps me up at night after shows because we stay up late chatting, playing FIFA. Tristan's worst quality is he always knows, like, but also your best is that you always know where everything is, which means that when, like, you know, I don't, I'm always wrong. But Jay's worst quality is that he's always on time. So if you're ever late, you're late. And Sam's worst quality, I don't know, like, What's your worst quality, mate? Sam doesn't have any. He's just perfect.
So,
I
yeah.
care too much.
You know. Cares too much.
Feel too deeply.
I feel.
It's both a blessing and a curse to feel things so very deeply.
I hear everything.
If you could collaborate with one person, who would it be and why?
You could what?
Collaborate with one person.
Shakira, because that new Shakira song is terrible. I feel like
What were you talking about? She-Wolf, the one that we heard?
She-Wolf is
that
not
came
good.
out ages ago.
Oh, is that
It
who it
came out
was?
like 6 years ago.
Well, has she released anything since?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Shakira, I feel like would be a good call. I feel like we could do something really important musically.
Einstein.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I'm being serious about it, I guess what's happening in the grime scene at the moment is kind of what can only be. It feels to me like it can be equated to what was happening in terms of either the rock and roll movement or the punk scene. You know, when punk first started emerging, that feeling, that like aggression. You know, we went around when that was happening in London. You know, at the top of the King's Road. You know, and yeah, like in terms of just that anger and that vibe and just that whole like poetry and everything about it. So, I mean, I'm super interested in grime. It seems to have like captured it seems to capture this general feeling at the moment. So grime artists would be amazing, but I don't know. There's so many people that we love to work with. You know, the list is endless. We'd be here for hours.
Do you have any funny tour stories?
Probably, but none that you would want to know.
Our bus driver told us we were all going to be staying at a nudist colony. He was like, alright, so we basically were just like, his name was Pat, he was amazing. We were like, Pat, pick what we're going to do on our days off, take us somewhere nice. He's like, okay, cool, went away and did it, came back and goes, I booked us a great campsite, but they told me after I booked it, that it's a nudist colony. I don't know what reaction he expected out of us. I think he all expected us to be in horror, but we were actually like quite excited about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Mood of excitement.
And then it turns out he was just pulling our leg.
Yeah, we pulled up to this campsite and I did not see one butt cheek.
Yeah.
You were close.
I was close to getting my own butt cheeks out. I mean, you know, you dangle that carrot in front of me, you know, so to speak. I'm keen. I'm interested. You know, if nudity is a policy, I'm all for it. You know, why not?
Helicopter away.
I mean, but then on the same day we had to unload all of our gear onto the beach because our bus got stuck.
Oh yeah.
So we unloaded all of our
Naked?
onto the beach. Of what? Yeah, to what could have been a nudist beach.
If you could go back in time and meet one person from the past, who would it be?
Right now, my great grand, Nanny Golding, top row.
Top lass.
I get one person from the past.
I would say like Einstein, but I think he'd be above my pay grade. I think he wouldn't be able to understand what he's talking about.
U2 told them not to put their album on there.
They're still around. You can meet them now.
Yeah, well,
You
I
can meet them before they put it on
I'm
there.
not going to get that time back, yeah.
Text them.
Get it off, how do I delete your album off my phone?
It's a bit of a name drop, but I had the opportunity very, very, very briefly many years ago to meet an actor called Christopher Lee, who is kind of a legend in both, I suppose, more like popular movies, but particularly in a lot of sort of what I guess would be referred to as sort of, and I hesitate to say this, B movies, I guess. He did a lot of like crazy films. He did a lot of weird movies, and particularly like horror movies. You know, that was his vibe. That was his whole jam. And I had the opportunity to meet him once, very, very briefly. And he was the tallest guy, very deep voice. And I wish I had the opportunity to meet him again now, because at the time I met him I was so young and I didn't have the opportunity to ask, or I was too terrified to ask any questions. But now I think I might have a little bit more
He made a
With the
metal
guys. He
record.
did make a metal record as well. Yeah. Yeah. Towards the last stage of his life as well. I mean, bear in mind, God rest his soul, he only passed away recently. So, that's all.
How does it feel to perform on stage every night? What's the feeling?
It's kind of the answer to this would be the same sort of similar answer to the question about where's our favourite place to play. I think each night and each show is always very different, and I don't say that because it's politic. I say that because it's the truth. Each show is like very, very different. I think for me, I don't know about for the rest of the band, but like for me personally, there's always the pre-show nerves from whatever show that we're doing. There's always going to be a bit of pre-show nerves, but once we get out there, it's like every show is different, you know. Like some shows, you get into that like it's just like instant. Other shows, it's a bit more like you've got to like have a bit more of a battle with your instrument and with what you're doing, and like that's what I think is the most exciting part about playing music, is the fact that, and playing live music particularly, is that it's going to be different every time. So it's kind of exciting in that sense, but it's always chaotic. Chaotic is the word I'd use to describe it. It's always chaos because that's just what we do. It's how we are. You know, that's our thing.
How did you come up with a name for your band?
It's a tough question again because there's no real story. Like a lot of bands take their names from movies or from other songs or from other bands or from inspiration that they find it in books or whatever, but for us the name came from it feeling right. If I'm being honest, I'm a big believer in something, if inspiration is kind of everywhere and it's floating around, and I'm not sure where it came from, but it just sort of appeared and it fit and it was right, and it was the right thing for the band, and it was the right words and it was the right sound. I'd love to be able to sit here and say that part of it was irony and part of it was, you know, having a dig, but it wasn't, if I'm being honest.
What are your musical influences?
Broad.
Very broad, yeah.
And varied.
From like heavy metal to classical music, some of it's more.
There's hints of country in there.
Sam thinks there's a lot of country.
I'm hearing
Well,
more
in
like
your
country hints.
You are as well.
Yeah.
About
Are you hearing country?
Nah.
In some songs, I really.
I love
You said
country
Family
music.
Suicide was a bit
It
country.
really gets through country for me.
Like, yeah, it would be a good country version.
But I mean, you know, for us, there's this sort of across the board. I think we grew up listening to our father's rock and roll music collection, basically. A lot of Hendrix, Sabbath. For me, slightly lighter as well with my dad. Bands like Van Morrison. I mean, I love Bob Dylan growing up as well, so that sort of led me into a world where I'm sort of like traversing into the Travelling Wilburys, which then sort of leads me on to Tom Petty, which, you know, you sort of like get lost in these rabbit warrens. But then in terms of like more modern bands, I think, you know, Biffy Clyro, Gallows, the Bronx, there's a lot in there. Even bands like Bring Me the Horizon, I think, have somewhat helped shape this band into what it is. You know, we owe a lot of what we are to a lot of artists that, you know, are out there slaying it right now. You know, I think we do.
What got you into music in the first place?
Mine was my dad being like we were talking about earlier, being interested in guitar-driven music, Jimi Hendrix, and my parents bought me a guitar as well, so it was like the new plaything to play with, and I got lessons at school. Kind of went from there.
I think, I mean, for you and me, it was kind of just like, I think, who we are, really.
Yeah, rhythm. Rhythm always, and still does, like, I find really interesting what is possible with rhythm. Or,
I
getting too deep into it.
I think it's just something that, like, I kind of wasn't good at anything else. Like, I mean, I like, in terms of you know, academia or anything like that. I just fell in love. I fell in love, and I you know, playing an instrument. I fell in love with playing an instrument, but I was playing an instrument, you know, very early on in my life, and you know, that's what I wanted to do. And in terms of rock and roll, I first started playing the drums. I wanted to be a drummer. My mum and dad said they wouldn't get me lessons to play drums, so I focused really hard on playing the drums. I loved it, absolutely loved it. Loved the first time around. It was terrible. It was awful.
Everyone starts terrible, no?
No, I didn't get any better. I stayed terrible.
How do your friends and family feel about you being in a band, and does it put any pressure on relationships?
I think my family's pretty. They're stoked now. Yeah, definitely. It was because it's a risky career choice. It's not something that's like. Yeah, I think that's why my parents were a little bit apprehensive.
Very supportive, always very supportive. My family. I mean, you know, it's a creative venture, and mine and Sam's parents, you know, really support that and are very very open to that. We sort of grew up in a family environment where that was what our parents did for a living. You know, was work with creative people, and so they understood. I bet they fucking kicked themselves. They were like, oh God, half of this is probably our fault. Like, but you know, that's the nature of what it is. And then does it put strain on relationships? Of course. I mean, of course it does. Like, you know, you're out on the road for fucking however long. You know, across Europe, phone signals dodgy, and like you end up you're traveling through 4 different countries in one fucking day, and your phone just like has a moment and stops working and dies, and you want to throw it against a wall so you want to contact people and all that kind of stuff. Of course it does, but at the same time, I think each of us is very like fortunate enough to have both friends, relatives and loved ones who understand the nature of what it is that we do, and understand, you know, you just have to be like, you know, it's really shit, like I get it, it's going to be tough, like it's not an easy thing to do, but we've got, our friends are very supportive, and we're very lucky to have that, very, very lucky.
What are your plans after this tour?
Netflix and chill.
Album 2.
Album 2. Well, we've got festivals.
Oh, festivals as well, but it's sprinkled in between. Yeah.
Hopefully. I mean, we'll see. We're you know, we've got a lot of festivals to play, and you know, one of the most important ones being Reading and Leeds. You know, that's a huge festival for us, and we're like stoked. That's a fucking great. It's amazing. And, you know, it's an amazing thing for us to be able to go and do. Like, wicked. I'm mega excited about that. And then we've got loads of like German festivals and some others like sprinkled around Europe. And then who knows? You know, there's talk of maybe going back into the studio. There's talk of maybe going back out on the road again. You know, it kind of depends on if and when inspiration strikes. You know, if inspiration strikes while and the iron's hot, you know, and we come out of those festival dates and we're really pocket and we're really ready, then we go for it. But if we're not and we need a bit more time, we take a bit more time.
I'm sure the fans want to know this, but are any of you seeing anybody?
What, today? Yeah, I'm seeing probably a crowd of people in there.
My mate Jack's coming.
That's nice.
Mum's coming.
Mumsy's coming.
Mumsy's coming
Really?
down.
I'm seeing Mumsy. There you go. I'm seeing Mumsy.
Last question, have you ever had any strange encounters with fans before?
Ever had any strange encounters? Yeah. I mean, a few, like a few in the past. Nothing recently that like dramatically springs to mind. I thought someone had got on the bus the other day. I thought someone who wasn't in the band or in the crew had gotten on the bus, and I was like, and we were all asleep, and I was like, who the fuck is that? They hadn't. It was all right. There was no one on there. Well, there was. Matilda was there, but yeah, it was terrifying. I've had people like send me wheels of cheese with nipple clamps and stuff. It's a weird one.
As
That was a weird one, and a letter that, you know, describes some fairly explicit actions.
Including the cheese.
No, the cheese was like
The
separate.
cheese was left out.
The
That was a
cheese was
different
left.
story. That was another story.
The cheese was left out of the letter entirely.
Did you eat the cheese?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't eat the cheese.
Was it a good cheese?
It was a camembert or a brie. It was a soft cheese. It was a soft cheese with
It
a
was a stanky.
you know, gooey-ish thing. I didn't open it up. I could squeeze it.
That's all the questions I have.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Peace.